Association Tendral.
Thank you, Madam President. We call upon the core group of countries on Sri Lanka resolution and to the treaty bodies expo to recognize the Elam Tamils genocide, support Elam Tamils plight at the International Criminal Court, and to recognize who are the victims in Sri Lanka and hold a special session on the human rights violation and the acts crime of genocide in Sri Lanka as matter of urgent concern. We want to point out the total denial of justice for Tamil peoples in Sri Lanka by United Kingdom and core group countries, which on its statement totally denied to identify who are the victims in Sri Lanka and where they are affected. The UN Charles Peters report estimates more than 70,000 people have been killed during the final stage of the war in the north and east of Sri Lanka. Madam President, the situation in Tamil homeland is especially difficult for the family of victims of enforced disappearance who are searching for their loved ones. On 29th of August 2020 night, Madam Amaranayagi was interrogated by Sri Lankan security force, and also they gave a letter from court to not to commemorate this International Day of Enforced Disappearance, and she was intimidated by them violently. And on 30th of August 2020, on the International Day of Enforced Disappearance, all the people from 8 districts were attacked by Sri Lankan security force. More than 200 people are injured in the district of Batikola and many other in different places.
Excuse me, but please stick to the topic. You have the floor again. And use the microphone, please.
We call on the special procedures to take all possible steps to protect Tamil living in their homeland from Sri Lankan genocide products. Push a referendum for recognizing the Tamil rights to self-determination. Thank you.
We have ABC Tamil Oli.
The High Commissioner in her reports on Sri Lanka has clearly stated the lack of progress in the implementation of Resolution 30/1. Sri Lanka has virtually done nothing in seeking truth, justice and accountability toward the Tamil victims. As she has recommended universal jurisdiction, it should be asserted in relation to a limited number of international crimes, including war crimes, torture, crime against humanity and crime of genocide. Sri Lanka has committed all these crimes against the Tamils. Especially the 89,000 war widows and children remain vulnerable under the severe militarization of Elam Tamils homeland. The mother of enforced disappearance victims are protesting for the last 1,200 days, and they are facing harassment and intimidation from Sri Lankan security forces. Several of our mothers who are looking for their loved ones lost their life, and we invited to the core group sponsor of 40/1 other members and treaty body members to have a discussion with victims of ongoing genocide. This year, Tamils can commemorate the week of genocide in May 2020, International Enforced Disappearance Day, and the Martyr Taliban Week, which Sri Lanka judicial mechanism qualified as terrorism. Madam President, as the country has failed in its task to render justice to the Tamils, without any further delay, we urge the Council to explore or refer Sri Lanka to the ICC, which is the only option that can render justice to the Tamils, to have a special rapporteur for Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Is the jeunesse étudiante tamoule?
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Au Sri Lanka.
Thank you. In Sri Lanka, 11 years after the end of the war, the economic situation of Tamil is deteriorated and no change has been noted. It's been 11 years. Tamils have lost over in a genocide perpetrated by the Sri Lankan government, which reached its apogee in 2009. In the north, security forces continue to intimidate political parties, religious shrines, blocking commemorative ceremonies of Tamils killed during the genocide. The families continue to look for missing persons, but in searching for justice, they run into harassment from the Sri Lankan security forces. Amila Nanake was attacked by a paramilitary group in August. A few weeks ago, Silvara Natabiriasa was interrogated and also summoned by Sri Lankan security forces after participating in a day of commemoration of the day of enforced disappearance. 100 women have been victims of violence by security forces. The family of martyrs and former combatants are permanently intimidated by security force members, and they receive no aid for development from the floor of the Sri Lankan government or from international organizations. Madam President, the Council must take urgent steps with regards to the legitimate requests of the Tamils to investigate the genocide of the Tamil people. Thank you.
Next, Tamil Uzagam.
Thank you very much, President. Treaty bodies and this council need to protect the Elam Tamils from religious genocide in Sri Lanka. Religious genocide is nothing but destroying Hindu temples and Christian churches and replacing them with Buddhist temples. 93 churches are completely devastated, 183 partly destroyed, and 20 damaged according to the data taken by Tamil Center. In 2018, a single Buddhist monk constructed a large Buddha statue encroaching the Neeraviyadi Pillayara temple at Semalai, and a Tamil language sign indicating the Hindu temple was destroyed and replaced with a single sign. Buddhist extremists, with the help of military, have brought the Olamadu Vidukurani Adi Siva temple under their control. Buddhist extremists encroached the campus of Siva temple Sudukinaru Trincomalli, where 7 hot water wells are. Tamil across the northeast view the archaeological department as the leading front for singularization. Hindu temples and Tamil lands are seized under the guise of discovering evidences of ancient Buddhist remains. The U.S. State Department International Religious Freedom Report for 2016 said that continued construction of such sites in a non-Buddhist area left the perception Buddhist single is religious and cultural imperialism. The people of Tamil Eelam in Ceylon call on the international community, including the United Nations agencies and international human rights bodies, to take appropriate measures to end
Thank you
this.
very much. To the Association Culturelle Les Tamouls en France.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you. Treaty bodies, the UN mechanisms must protect the Tamils in Sri Lanka to free themselves from the yoke of the majority Sinhalese government. On September 87, the Tamil Tigers sent a letter with 5 requests of India. Those requests submitted by the party in 1987 were as follows: put an end to the colonization of the Sinhalese under the pretext of integration in the West, free all political Tamil prisoners and those detained in the army and police camps of Sri Lanka, withdraw the state of emergency, withdraw paramilitaries, stop creating new Sinhalese checkpoints in Tamil areas. Kilibanu then made a statement on 26 September, having refused. Taliban made new resolutions, and since his death of Caliban, annual commemorations have been held to pay tribute to Caliban. However, this year the annual commemoration was prohibited by 2 Jaffna and Mullaitivu courts following a request from the Sri Lankan police. That's why we call on the members of the Council to send an urgent communication to the Sri Lankan government, urging it to ensure that all public authorities respect the right to pay tribute to Taliban and other commemorations through peaceful assembly. I thank you.
Association Solidarité Internationale pour l'Afrique.
Thank you, Chair. My organization is one of the 3,000 NGOs across 39 countries, including 118 ECOSOC accredited NGO. Tamil Nadu and Tamil Diaspora Organization of 2 joint written statements submitted by Association Bharati Center Cultural Franco-Tamil during the 40th session of Human Rights Council session, which is an appeal for asking the UN Human Rights Council to have a nomination of special reporter for Sri Lanka and refer Sri Lanka to International Criminal Court. Madam President, military occupation of Eelam Tamils, military harassment, enforcement disappearance and other acts are the actuality of all Tamils, and it's the accountabilities proposed by Sri Lankan government. On behalf of the victimized Tamil people, I request the assistance of OHCHR treaty bodies to have special investigation in Sri Lanka, as the country has failed in its task to render justice to the Tamils. Without any further delay, we call on the OHCHR mechanism to take all possible steps to stop the state sponsorizing colonization of Eelam Tamils land by Sri Lankan security forces, to protect Tamils living in their homeland from Sri Lankan genocidal politics, to promote an independent investigation into genocide against Eelam Tamils, to push a referendum for recognize the Tamils' right to self-determination. The government of Sri Lanka should immediately demilitarize the north and allow the civilians to lead a normal life. Thank you, Madam President.